Over the Christmas period, I was in Charleston and Savannah. Savannah just for a day trip, and Charleston we stayed one night. Both beautiful places, fairly similar. I think both we should go to visit because they're so different. Savannah was a good day trip. I think it could be a cool party place as well, especially with the open alcohol container laws. Pretty rare for the US, not so much in Europe. And I shot my Pentax 6.7 in Savannah, and that produced some of the nicest images I've taken the whole trip. Also Lomo 800 and Ektar 100 was a film I used, and they came out quite nicely. In Charleston, I just shot my Yashica T5. It's near the end of the trip, so I was pretty tired of shooting. I just shot Acros 100, some SX70 images, which they were some of my favorites as well. I can't recommend both highly enough. They were incredible. I think they had a European vibe. I thought it was beautiful. The weather was great, apart from a bit of rain in Charleston. Still added some nice clouds and some nice drama to some of the images. I think if I had to stay in one, it would be Charleston, but Savannah was actually beautiful. Especially those squares, they're pretty unique. So I hope you enjoy the video and tell me which one you'd prefer to visit. So when we arrived at Savannah, I loaded up some Ektar 100 to try and catch the reds on this steamboat along the waterfront, and I thought it was quite an amazing sight. I think they're so cool, but I imagine people who live there are less than impressed. We took a bus tour around Savannah as we only had a day there, so we could see the sights quickly. It took us around most of them, and we stopped and got off and took some photos here. This square, I love the 3D effect of the 105 lens, that shallow depth of field. It really gives it almost a large format look, and I think it turned out nicely. Continuing the Forrest Gump theme for this tour, that's where the feather comes down from at the start, and that's where he sat on the bench, although the bench is no longer there. Late in the afternoon we headed to Forsyth Park, and there's loads of Spanish moss there which looks amazing when the sun hits it just right, as you can see in the video and photos. Savannah was exceptionally hot for this time of year. I was wearing summer clothes and it was beautiful. It was so nice to be able to wear that. I love the way Ektar captured everything in such great detail and how it rendered the reds quite strongly on this image as well. That was the end of the Ektar roll, so I switched over to some Lomo 800, which I'm glad I did as the sun was setting on this rooftop bar, and I managed to get a nice photo of both the sunset and the theatre. We left Savannah after this and headed back to Fripp, spent a day there, and then headed to Charleston. Shot all these on my Yashica T5 with some Acros 100, and I think I like the black and white, especially with the massive cloud in the background. Not the best composition of this theatre, but I had to take a picture of the theatre. There's so many in Charleston. This one was definitely my favourite theatre, having taken quite a few photos of it. I shot it on black and white on my SX70. The first ones weren't great. I wasn't very impressed with the cars out front to kind of match the theatre look, so I edited it slightly to try and make it dark. And then later in the afternoon we passed by it again, and there's this awesome four-wheel drive out front, and I think it went perfectly with the theatre, and this is one of my favourite SX70 shots ever. We headed for lunch on the pier, and as you can see the clouds were starting to roll in, so we didn't have that much time to walk around the rest of Charleston in the day without getting rained on. So after this we just went for a quick stroll, then headed back to the hotel. We walked along the waterfront, saw the pineapple, and I did not realise that Charleston had such a busy shipping route going for it. Some of those boats were absolutely monstrous. In the evening, headed back into town. As you can see, headed past the theatre again, and I thought it looked great lit up, but I didn't have any cameras on me to take a photo of it. Here you can see the true scale of these vessels. They are absolutely enormous. The people of Charleston were so friendly. That Southern hospitality is definitely a real thing, and they even bought me a hat, which was a great unexpected gift. With peanuts?
Yeah. We can walk down George Street.
Hi. This is White Point Gardens over here. White Point Gardens, originally all of this was oyster beds and mudland. The oyster beds were dyed white.
The next morning we walked along the Battery, and there's so many beautiful houses. It's a great place, especially in the sun, and you could spend so long just strolling along there. I barely took any photos this day. There wasn't that much to take photos of. There were just buildings that I couldn't really get in. Didn't have a wide angle lens, but it didn't matter. Managed to get some video and just see the houses. So finally, comparing the two places is actually really hard because they both have unique aspects that are just gorgeous and stunning. But I think Charleston would be the one I would choose. The food is incredible, and the hospitality is great, and it's just a beautiful place.